It is good that you are here to record this picture of me in my palace garden at Addis Ababa. People who see this throughout the world will realize that even in the 20th century, with faith, courage, and a just cause, David will still beat Goliath.
On board the liner Orford, the man whose name has been on the world's lips for months past, the emperor without a kingdom, the king who is still received as a king but has no land to rule, steps onto British soil. The same soil that has often been sanctuary for men who have come upon evil times. King Alfonso of Spain, King George of Greece, Colonel Lindbergh, and now Haile Selassie, the man who waged a war that was not of his own making, with the world's sympathy to give him courage, but yet unable to prevent the disaster that has overtaken him. And so he arrives in London, to find peace for his war-racked mind and rest for his war-wounded body. And London shows its sympathy for this last dark-skinned Christian emperor by the warmth of its welcome. With the emperor are his son and his daughter Princess Sahai, who now speaks.
Although only recently recovered from an illness, I decided to come myself to defend the cause of my people before the Council of the League of Nations. I hope, however, that the Council will be good enough to excuse me from reading the whole of my declaration and will allow Associated permanent delegates to the League of Nations to read it my place.
From the Sudan, the Emperor of Abyssinia sets forth on an historic flight. He's returning to the country he ruled until the Italians overran it. At the frontier, the Emperor, for the first time for 5 years, sets foot upon his own soil. He's accompanied by the Crown Prince, the Duke of Hara, and warrior chief Ras Kassa. There follows a solemn ceremony as British officers already firmly established in the occupied territory receive the Emperor and his party and accord the returned exiles an official welcome. The ceremony is of such significance that the Crown Prince himself makes a photographic record of it. And now the most romantic scene of all, the breaking of the red, green and gold flag of Ethiopia by His Majesty, who said, "I am entering Ethiopia with full confidence of assistance from the British government in order to crush our common enemy." Soon will Haile Selassie make good his promise to reinstate the white marble statue of the Lion of Judah in the square at Addis Ababa. In this wild, mountainous country bordering the Red Sea, 25 pounders go into action, blasting the Italians out of their one-time colony. In the capturing of Fort Dologorodok, yet more Italian prisoners fell into our hands, more for our collection. What to do with them is a bit of a problem. Anyone exchange them for a couple of oranges or half an onion? Our Navy's brilliant victory over the Italian fleet in the Battle of Cape Matapan brought us yet more prisoners. Even a newsreel editor hardly knows what to do with them. Well, shaking ourselves free from their depressing appearance for a moment, in the mountainous regions of Ambaralagi came the end of the war in Abyssinia. On the precipitous heights where fierce battles were fought, the last remnants of the Italian army under the Duke of Aosta to our imperial forces in Abyssinia. Before the oncoming troops, the entire population fled to the capital, leaving the place deserted, a town of ghosts. The railway station here is an important railhead and a military objective on which our bombers scored direct hits. The railway workshops, too, came off badly. Over the aerodrome flies an Italian Savoia 79, but it carries no threat of battle. It brings an envoy from the now captured Duke of Aosta, former Viceroy of Italian East Africa. He comes to plead for the safety of Addis Ababa and its civil population. In their retreat, the Italians wrecked quite a number of bridges. This one, at our watch, was sent crashing into a ravine 200 feet deep. The Wops built it to last as long as their empire. Well, it did. It's all set for the last push, so on to the capital. It's easy to get there now. They just follow the white flags. Addis Ababa became capital of Abyssinia in 1896, and it was under Italian rule for the last 5 years. But that is all ended now. It regains its freedom as the colors of tyranny are pulled down. The fall of Addis Ababa is a climax to a brilliant campaign, the like of which has never before been witnessed in history. From the Viceroy's palace, General Weatherall goes to the hall of battle to read the official proclamation to the Abyssinian chiefs. This is a moment they have long waited for. The oppressor's yoke is off, and the chief city of their land can raise its head. The flag of Abyssinia flies again. These people haven't forgotten the treatment they received at the hands of Mussolini. They came, they saw, they conquered. Britain fulfills the first of her war promises and gives back Abyssinia to the Abyssinians. On the 5th anniversary of the entry of Italian troops into Abyssinian capital, His Majesty Haile Selassie returns in triumph to Addis Ababa. A great ovation is given him by his subjects, who witness the moving spectacle of their emperor attending a Thanksgiving service at the Cathedral of St. George, his first act on returning to the throne of Ethiopia. Accompanied by a number of military chiefs and religious leaders, including Ras Seum, Ras Kasa, and the chief abbot, Haile Selassie returns thanks to Almighty God for the restoration of his country. Today, Abyssinia rejoices. And now the triumphal procession, headed by Ethiopian troops, the royal car makes its way to the palace as a salute of 21 guns mingles with the greetings of the crowds thronging the tree-lined route to the emperor's home. Arriving in the palace grounds, the emperor is greeted by the general officer commanding-in-chief East African Forces, Lieutenant General Cunningham. After 5 years of exile, the dignified ruler of Ethiopia mounts the steps leading to the palace balcony. With his son, the Duke of Hara, beside him, the emperor calls upon his people not to reward evil with evil. Do not shame Ethiopia, he said, with acts worthy of our enemies. Haile Selassie has triumphed over Italy's profane fascist regime. Britain has set the conquering Lion of Judah once more at the head of a united Abyssinian nation, freed from the yoke of the tyrant. Long after the fall of Addis Ababa, Italian prisoners poured in from all directions. After 5 years of subjugation, Abyssinian inhabitants see their one-time overlords marched into captivity. Among the prisoners from the Juba River sector is the Italian commander, General Santini. Large prison camps were quickly established in Addis Ababa so that friends and relatives may visit their menfolk. Surely a unique situation in time of war. Italian civilization ought to learn a lot from the Abyssinians. A red letter day in Addis Ababa. The occasion of the Emperor's first review of his troops since he was returned to the throne after 5 years of exile. The troops welcomed this long-awaited opportunity of proving their loyalty to their Emperor. As the men march past, each sub-chief recounts in a loud voice the feats he and his men have performed. It's a rather strange